Hello book lovers, it's Chantel and welcome back to my booktube channel. My plans are booked. In today's video, we are going to be doing the Romance Journey book tag. I was tagged by Autumn from Nose in a Book to do this tag. The creators of this tag, there are 10 of them. There is Becky from Bex Reads, Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life, Kelsi from Ruffalo Reads, Jess from Honest Fiction, Caitlin from The Love Librarian, Bree from In Love and Words, Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me, Jackie from First Lady Reads, Ava from Ava Romance Books, and Sam from Sam Reads a Little. So the first question is from Becky, and she asks about how old were you when you started reading romance, and do you remember the first romance you read? So there are a couple different options here. The very first book that I read was Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I was probably about 14, 15 when I picked this up. And then the other one around the same time frame, I'm pretty sure I might have been more towards 16 when I picked this one up. But that is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The second question is from Crystal, and she asked, did you deliberately seek out romance or did you stumble upon it, and how? So I was fairly young when I discovered romance. I didn't deliberately seek out romance, but my parents had bought me the first book in the Twilight Saga for Christmas one year, and it just kindled my love for romance. I know it's kind of funny to say, but I guess I could say like toxic romance, because there are a lot of issues with Twilight. It is one of my all-time favorite series, and it's near and dear to my heart, and I'll always love this series, but let's be honest, it has its toxic traits. The next question is from Kelsi, and she asked, did you start with traditionally published or indie, and has it switched? So when I was in like early high school years, like I said, I started off with Twilight and The Fault in Our Stars, and these are traditionally published, but like after I had graduated, I really got into like indie romance, which is how I discovered Noelle Ron Johnson, and the book that kindled my reading for indie romance is her book Returning for Ryder, and this book definitely opened up my eyes to a whole different like reading experience, because this was a male romance. It was my first ever male romance that I have ever read, and like she wrote like the perfect like character development to it, as well as the perfect amount of spice. I guess I did kind of switch. I do tend to read a lot more indie romance than traditionally published, but I do read a good traditional published romance here and there. Okay, so the next question is from Jess, and she asked, what was a romance trope you were afraid to try but end up loving? So I'm going to say that the trope that I was really nervous to try but ended up loving is probably enemies to lovers. One reason why I was really nervous to like get into this trope was because it's very, very hyped in the romance community. And usually when things are like super hyped, I end up having an issue connecting with it and actually enjoying it. But lately, I've actually been able to really open up my mind to things that are really hyped up and give them a second chance. So I ended up really liking Enemies to Lovers, because I realized that the banter between the characters, from them hating each other, is like, it can be like super hilarious at times. And I love it, because, you know, the banter turns into like a romantic connection, and I think it's just a really good trope. So, sorry if there was a little bit of like an angle change. My camera decided to scream at me that my storage was full. question that I left off on is from Caitlin, and she asked, is there a romance book you read early on in your journey that you would rate differently today? So, for the life of me, I cannot think of what the author nor the title of the book is, but it's a trope that I can talk about, because I like, had an issue with the trope itself, and that is age gap, where the woman is older than the guy. I don't know what my problem was with it, but I don't know if it was just because, like, I was just getting into romance at the time when I was reading it, but I would definitely go in and give that trope another try. The next question is from Bree, and she asks, how has your taste in romance evolved over the years? So my taste is more open-minded. So I have more interests, and I'm not just like stuck in like contemporary where I had started off. I've definitely like expanded my taste, I guess you can say. But I guess my biggest thing is that I have more of an open mind now, so I'm willing to try different things. The next question is from Kaylani, and she asked, what is the most powerful romance that you have read that left a lasting impression? I'm gonna have to say that it is the book that my aunt made me read, and she's like, oh, you need to read it, I really enjoyed it, but you need to make sure you have a box of tissues. Well, I didn't listen to her about the whole box of tissues thing, but there's Susan's Diary for Nicholas by James Patterson. This book, I read it in one sitting. I stayed up super late to finish it, and I ended up bawling my eyes out. And it has stuck with me ever since, of being the most emotional impact that this book had on me. Like, it stuck with me for like, I was thinking about it for like weeks on end after I read it. And I kept telling her, I said, how could you make me read this? I sobbed like a baby, and it won't leave my mind, and it still lingers today. The next question is from Jackie, and she asked, what was the romance book that told you this is what I'm looking for in my personal life and or partner? I don't really have an answer for this one. So my taste in guys are like the dark, mysterious, mean, tattooed covered, like, I guess you can say badass. And my husband is definitely the opposite of those. He has no tattoos at all, and he's not dark and mysterious. He's very open and outgoing, and he's very nerdy. So I guess I can't, like I said, I can't really answer that question properly, because it doesn't really like tie in to what I like in my book guys compared to my like real life personal guys. So the next question is from Ava, and she asks, which romance book or books would you recommend to a romance newbie and a seasoned romance reader? It's not really like books, but like authors. But like anything, Nicholas Sparks, if you're looking for like something contemporary. This for those who don't like extremely steamy or, you know, whatnot books. So anything, Nicholas Sparks for soft readers. Anything by Noelle Ron Johnson. She's one of my all-time favorite authors and like one of my best friends, and I have loved everything that I've read from her so far. This is like if you want like steamy or I guess like diverse romance, because like she writes male, she writes you know, male-female. She's got, I believe this one is like college age. This one's a vampire human. She's got a tragic background one called No One to Hold Me. And then lastly, I'm going to recommend, Maureen. I'm sorry, Maureen, I can never pronounce your last name properly, but I recommend her, but like if you're looking for something short, like to dive like into, to kind of be like a quick read, definitely recommend picking up her books. The last question, which is from Sam, she asked, in your eyes, what are 3 perfect romances? And I'm going to put the Heartstopper series, which is a male graphic novel romance series. This series is like, it has a lot of different like mental health or like all kinds of like health disorder representation that I thought was perfectly written. You have the character development from someone being completely like closed in to being able to come out and express themselves more. I blew through those books so quick. I loved them so much. The next book that I'm going to pick is one that I just currently finished, and that is Cupid's Peak, and still follows like along the lines of Heartstopper, of how I felt. You have this character, this female character, who is just so closed in, that's completely shy, doesn't want to be anywhere in the spotlight, and then potentially can like blossom into a whole different person and be more out. Is one of my favorite things to read, is like breaking out of your shell. I loved this book so much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I guess this one's kind of I guess some people would call it like controversial, but I'm going to say The Fault in Our Stars. And I read this, like I said, I was just getting into romance, and this book hit me so hard. I sobbed. Falling in love with somebody who has a chronic illness or like a severe mental illness that can change their life completely, and being able to care for that person no matter what they're going through is like a super strong connection for me, because I have, you know, some chronic illnesses as well as severe mental illnesses, and my husband and I are kind of like basically in the same situation as that. But this was extremely emotional and very, very relatable, not to the extent of the illnesses that that they had. So that is the end of this book tag, and I am going to tag Izzy from Punk Rock Girl PA. I'm going to tag Staijah from Raider C, Rylanne from Reading with Rylanne, and Joanna from XO Joe. And I will tag all of their links in my description below. So I will see you in my next video.